Righto, so in this episode I'm going to show you how I use my Montana for navigation using tracks. Alright, so we'll just go to the Montana. Now this is not going to be easy, but I'll try and do it without disturbing the Montana, just for the camera. So I've loaded all my tracks in using Basecamp. So the first thing I want to do is go to Track Manager, and I can see there current track is, if I have the device set to record my current track as I'm riding along, that would be where that is stored. Archive tracks is where I can actually then store those and then start a new current track. But here below you will see my tracks that I have loaded from Basecamp. Okay, so the first thing to do is to go into each track and select it to show on map. Okay, in this case, because this one's such a large GPX, it's taken a while to load before the button becomes active. So I should just keep trying. Once it's loaded, you'll see that when I press the button it will go to the darker. There you go. So that's worked, and now it shows the alternative option, which is hide on map. So if you can see hide on map, it means that it's actually selected to show on map. At the same time, I could set the color, but it's easier to set the color of the track in Basecamp before you actually import it. Now, a couple of things to remember with colors is that when we're navigating a track, it is going to turn that track into a fat magenta or pink line. So try not to use pink for your other tracks, for the basic tracks for viewing on map. And the other thing is your current track will show as a light blue, so don't use light blue either. Now I generally default to using red, green and blue as contrasting colours to the map for the tracks. In this case I'm having to use red for most tracks because it just won't show up on this screen when I'm doing these recordings. Okay, so now I'm going to go through and just select each of these tracks to show on map. Now my main track, which I want to navigate by, is this top one, the A track. So I'm going to now select that, just get rid of that, and then go to view map. It will now show the whole of that track on the screen, and you can see there the red line is my full track. So now if I press go, it will now attempt to navigate that track by showing it as a big fat pink line. Now because I actually am nowhere near the start where I currently am, let's just zoom out, and there hopefully you can see the start of the big fat pink line. If I just zoom in a bit, there you can see the waypoint that I set up for start point meet at 6:30, and then the big fat pink line is the track I'm going to follow. Now you can see down in the bottom corner here that this is the zoom level, and normally when you navigate in a track, if it's fairly standard straight track, then you would be on say 500 meters, and if it got tight going and tight navigation, you may go down to 200 or 300 meters. Alright, so when you're moving your finger around this screen, it will quite often come up with this waypoint selection tool just across the box. So there you can see another waypoint, which is Woodford Fuel, and so those are going to come up on my screen when I'm riding along as reminders, and that's how I use waypoints. So just wanted to show you this bit on the map, and now as you can see here, I have a waypoint that says alternate track options here, and it's difficult to show you on the screen, but these lines now in red coming up here is another possible track. And so because that track is just set to view on map, it's just showing in the colour in which I set it into the system, and the big fat pink line is still showing my main track which I wish to navigate. So as I'm coming to this point, if I zoom in a little bit, and I'd normally be on, I think that's 800 and then 500. So you can see at that point there on the map I would have the ability to decide and try those other tracks. Okay. Now while I'm going along and I'm on the pink line, I would generally, as I say, be zoomed in to 200 or 300 and following the pink line. If I was coming up to a turn, I would generally go to 200 and slow down to make sure I don't miss that turn. Once I'm on the straight and narrow again, then I'll probably go to 500 meters or 800 meters and even start scanning forwards to see whether I think the track is just following a major track that I'm on, or whether it's going to deviate from that track. So I would be looking for sharp turns or for junctions, and you can see similar there. I would be coming up and I could see in front of me that I was coming up to a major road and then a right turn at that major road. Again, as I said, I'm in with the track heading north all the time, so that I can tell which direction I'm physically travelling. Okay, so that is how I would navigate the track. If for some reason at this point I was going to take the other alternative option and go down that red track, then I could go back into my tracks and then select that view on map and then choose to navigate by that track at that point. Should take me a while to get back to where I was. And you can see now, because I've selected that other track, my main track is now in red. If I can find the bit. And you can see now the fat pink line, the one I'm navigating, is this side track. Take a different option and my main track now appears in red as I haven't got it selected to navigate. So that is how I use tracks and how I would then navigate by that track. Hopefully that helps you guys, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.